All right. Okay, we back. Sorry about that, y'all. Y'all didn't get a chance to check these out. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna add some butter. Okay, pancakes are looking good. I flipped them over. I have it on medium high. I added a tablespoon of plant butter. All right, margarine. Let me show you both sides. The other side. So we're making strawberry banana pancakes. Strawberry and banana. All right. I'll put that there, baby, right here. Woo. All right. So basically, so in case some of these folks think I missed, we kind of went out. Some of these streams went out. I think it was the Instagram. Might have been everything. So we talked about. I'm going to read the first one. Apply vegan ethics of compassion to Black lives in defense of Black people. So you would essentially applying the same ethics that you apply to animals, to people, to oppress people, which it sounds logical, right? It makes absolute sense. And I'm gonna read a little bit. White vegans, ARs, animal rights activists, stand committed to being held accountable to the high standards of veganism and will routinely apply vegan ethics to Black lives. All right. So that allyship understands very easily the same thing that folks have been talking about and understanding speciesism and understanding to not harm or not exploit animals. You can apply the same thing to other folks who tell you that they struggle in society. And if they have to continuously tell you that they struggle in society, well, then it ceases to become a society that is, even, it's a function. It's not a function in society. It's not. It's a one that lacks understanding at the very same time. So you're working with folks, who are going through life, handling things differently than you handle them, and you benefit from that particular privilege based on your own forefathers. Now that's a reality that folks don't want to have to tell you on a consistent basis. I will, and I want to go into that before I go to part two. If I want to use some of this paper towel, put it a little closer. Now, I want to be very clear about that. That it is definitely a stress for folks to have to tell you that they're dealing with these particular things, right? Whether it be Black trans, folks in the community, they have to go through and have this conversation, with you about why respecting their pronouns is important, so you can actually see them. It's the same thing in terms of women talking about inequities, not just the equality, but the equities that people might be able to actually have, should have more resources than you at a particular job. So we're not just talking about equality, having the same pay. If I'm doing more work at the job than you and dealing with these particular issues, we can't be talking about equal pay. We need to be talking about the inequities. We need to be pointing the spotlight at the inequities and making it more equitable. So maybe I need to be getting paid, more because I'm at the job and I'm doing a particular work for a long particular time. We know that affects, women more adversely than it does, men. So let's be very clear, about that. And so apply that understanding that we already so easily grasp to why we would be why the white community should be looking at defending white vegan community, in particular, defending Black lives the same way that they go hard, for animals, right? Makes sense? So folks, if you have any questions, do ask them. And okay, act with compassion, exactly. All right, so I don't mean to miss y'all, questions or y'all comments. All right, so number two is respect Black space. So of course we did this starting in late May, about May 30th, May 31st, when we released Black VegFest 7 Points of Allyship. We're going back into this, and Black space is hugely important. Y'all can see the ceiling. I'm doing a lot of work, up there. Y'all didn't know I was a handyman. I'm telling you, I gotta, but we will do that on another time, and I'll show y'all some tricks. My pops have been doing like for 40 years, doing plumbing, at least, So I'm learning so much, but I'm not trying to teach that and show the ceiling at the same time. Okay, sorry about that. So respect Black space. And I gave that example that happened 2 weeks ago, about folks, white dudes are just coming through and just being on this property, but making sure that they keep you off their property and making privatization, so much of a big, issue. But when we're trying to do it for safety, we have to feel like we have to deal with you in such a way that we don't upset you or we don't make you cry. And so sometimes we're quiet. Not me. I'm actually looking for that work. I do want to make people clear. I do want to make that make sense, because I know that's going to affect, other folks, in the community. I don't want to burn up the pancakes, either, so I had to flip them, just now. All right. So now, having that particular space allows Black folks to actually, anytime we say Black love or we say, Black joy, we're talking about that particular word. We're embracing that, word that was used against us and trying to be the most creative as possible. But we're also trying to embrace, the same reality that we went through historically, for 400 years. And it still affects us today. If it didn't affect us, today, we wouldn't talk about it. We'd be talking about it like folks talk about the Ice Age. What happened, that we're talking about right now because it's so relevant and people miss that. Like if we hear, folks in all these different particular communities or where folks, feel oppressed and people are talking about it, it is relative. It is not history. It is not just history. It's not just combined in, history. Because you don't see any benefit, you don't see it as any positive, and it should be positive that you receive criticism, that you're told somebody is right over the head, because what happens when people are trying to get free and they can't be free. They look at you as as an enemy. Why would you want to put yourself in that situation? Take that information. Why you get in the cheat sheet? You get in the notes. I'm giving you the cheat sheets and the notes and the playbook, and letting you know that I'm not playing with you. I'm giving you information and trying to have this discussion. It's the most human and civilized thing that has happened, that Black folks are even having the conversation, with folks and embracing that, that idea that, folks going to need more time to do that. And I think it's remarkable and it's very commendable of my community to do that. But we're going to have to take some space back. You dig? We're gonna have to utilize this space and have this particular Black space, and be able to embrace in that and be able to love each other, within that space. Can we do that? Don't just say like it's okay for other cultures that are mysterious, that you want to safeguard them because you don't know about it, because they're not in your face, right? They're telling you to leave them alone. You still don't leave them alone. But you give them this kind of respect and this rare this rare reverence. I see it. It does happen. I could go more into it, but I won't because we got 5 more points on this. But respect Black space. And at least if you care about our mental health. And you say that you don't see color, but hopefully you can hear, so, hopefully the hearing is good, when we make these, these demands, about ourselves. So I want to go into number 3.3: support calls for ending police murder and misconduct. Honestly, that is the easiest one, simplest one, on there. I haven't heard it from everybody, and this is how we understand that some folks are just liberal, give the appearance that they're making change, but not really making any change. Talking nice, talking nice and respectable. That's minimum. You should talk to people in a certain way. That's respectful. That's the minimum. Do understand that it's literally the minimum that can do. You can provide people with that kind of respect. But if you go out and actually support, ending, we didn't say, the police right upside the head, anything. We said support, ending police misconduct, and murder. We should not be murdered. And then folks would do pushback. And so we have to come out and do this on a consistent basis as if we having fun, protesting. I know a lot of folks that's got a lot of ailments. I've had, so many ailments, hernias, listen, high blood pressure, that I've had to deal with. And I'm glad that I was, and becoming vegan. When I was vegetarian, I was thinking more about that. But when I came vegan, it for the animals, it drove the health home, so perfectly. And so understand that you wouldn't want folks to be harmed. At least make those calls. Let's see, folks make that call and speak about that. And so we say that white vegans, animal rights activists support calls for ending police murder and police misconduct. White allies will unite with adopting all forms of protocols and contingency plans under the direction of Black leaders and collectives which are unapologetically Black-led. Do understand when I say unapologetically Black-led, folks, is who you listen to. If you tell me you listening to some comedian, some actor, some actress, I listen to them. I respect their culture. I respect that aspect. When we're talking about political power, please listen to the folks who've been doing this for a long time, who's been in the trenches, who's been calling out these issues and not just been calling it out in artistic, spaces and cultural spaces, but calling it out everywhere. And that's what unapologetically Black folks like myself do. We call it out everywhere. You understand? When we on the job, we calling it out that not everybody here is getting paid. We're not getting paid the right amount of money. Those folks, we don't wait to get paid at a job, at a nonprofit. We don't wait until a nonprofit pays us to do that work. Ain't taking shots. But we don't wait, you know what I mean? And I mean, you see it in any facet of our life. When folks challenge, particular systems, when they challenge their landlord, they're trying to challenge the landlord. And sometimes what happens when you challenge the landlord, they want to evict you, because you are challenging that structure. You're not just challenging them, they might center it there, but you're challenging the banks, you understand? You're challenging the insurance companies that we have in here. You're challenging, the entire status quo. You're challenging the government. It's work to do that, as much as folks, think that it is, I don't know, maybe folks might think it's fun. It's actual work. So you want to listen to those folks as much as you can. So I will show you the last one because, man, listen, strawberry and banana pancakes. That one is a lot more fluffier. It's stacked with more strawberries and bananas in there. And they come out. One of the things I want to show you about pancakes, and it was one of the key things that I always want to show folks when they were going vegan, is if I may take a pause before I go into point 4, and to just go into these pancakes. I really love pancakes, but I didn't know that I would be able to have the taste of pancakes. You understand? I had no idea that vegan pancakes would taste delicious without, eggs. You know what I mean? Which is like periods. Which folks have said. Some folks, they get totally pissed, at that, but they come out, of the eggs, and it's unfertilized, so they just unfertilized, eggs, so I mean, like, where is the lie? Please tell me. I gotta read some comments. If I think, yeah, it's vegan forever for sure. Respect. So I really didn't know, as a young boy, growing up in the city, when my mom made so many, pancakes all the time. Um, I loved having, home, cooked, pancakes. I love having, pancakes at IHOP. Wherever you had pancakes, I love pancakes. I just want to be very clear. Various different types of pancakes. So when I became vegan, for the animals, I still did it, and I didn't think about it. I didn't think about the pizza. I had stopped the cheese and so on and so forth. But the pancakes, I like to really start my day with some delicious pancakes. Um, and anytime I could, or feel like I have the energy to go ahead and make it happen. So and remember that that word energy. You have that energy and you possess it at the particular time. Um, I just had to have them, pancakes. That was great. And then when I learned that I can have these, there was so many alternatives. There were more alternatives than what you see as normative. Which should be the normative. That we use applesauce and that we use bananas and chia seeds and flax seeds. With some warm water. Instead of going and saying that, hey, I'm going to go ahead and you know. Confine these chickens, into these particular spaces, and cramp them in, and make sure they just become a production. Like, you just turn an animal into machinery, and if you don't see that, and that's why vegans say that I should have went vegan earlier. You just turn something into machinery. You can't. How you gonna bang on the system? You know what I'm saying? It's tough to bang on the system if you into doing them and you into the machinery. Now, I've been and worked against and within the political machinery. You know what I mean? Since I was 7. You understand? A lot of gaps in there until my 20s. I'm in my 40s now, um, and I know what a machine looked like. You know, I know what a machine look like, and I know that we don't want you don't want a machine, especially handling your food, to be the proponent the way you get it. You really got to go into the earth. Like, hold on a second. I don't want to get into the gospel, of the the whole food justice, of it. But the justice of that, that animal to go through that situation on a consistent basis is pretty profound. The injustice that goes into that. So when I recognize that, I wanted to pull from their matrix and just kind of whoa, let me snap out of there. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you could be in the matrix and it not just be feeding off of you, because it's still feeding off of you, but it could be using you to feed off of others. You know what I'm saying? And making them and seeing them as like nothing, like you just make some damn eggs for me. So it's misery. Um, so that kind of confinement is misery in any way you shape it. So I want to be clear. So that made more sense than me wanting pancakes. That it wasn't a thought. It wasn't even a thought pattern. And then I went so much into plant milk. In terms of the process where they do with the cow and down to the gelatin. Uh, um, and using the bones and just using it for just dog meat, whatever the case may be, and we feed it to cats and that sort of thing. And we feed it to animals. Some period. We will feed it right back to them. So that's a reality. So what we dealing with. So we work on these things that we can work on while we working on ourselves, right? You don't, folks are not in perfection mode, and folks will be like this, oh man, they think they're perfect. I'm like, what? Like how? Hardly, what I'm saying? You can't really get into that just because you saying you ain't gonna, kill yourself, you know? So number four, as we center this and understand the folks who are on the front lines of veganism, right now, supporting ourselves, being black and just feeling great to just support ourselves. You know what I mean? Support yourself, and then support more if you can, if you're strong enough, if you say you're strong. Number four, white organizers mobilizing white force on behalf of black people. You organize those folks. I'm giving you the lessons, what I'm saying? You got to organize the folks. We've had, since the 7 points of allyship can come up, you can go on Black VegFest to get more information on 7 points of allyship and also sign up. I don't know if everybody knows that white folks, y'all can sign up and y'all can put in resources in there. I'll be contacting y'all. I contacted, several of you. I've been contacted everybody, for specific items. But, one of the easiest things that y'all can give is money. It's resources, it's funds. That's easy. That's simple. From the resources, then we can pay for all the other shit, what I'm saying, and build up our community. You know what I mean? And build that up. And if you're thinking about building up, animals and supporting them with sanctuaries and so on and so forth, do not skip your own species. Is what I'm saying. I'm gonna push you to strive. Some of y'all, matter of fact, a lot of y'all organizing. So most of y'all gonna fall on your face. Y'all gonna making complaints why you can't do this. You're gonna making all these complaints, but you're gonna be benefiting off these privileges. And it's a privilege. When you go into these jobs with us and you go and you putting your resume in, you ain't about to tell me you don't know that, I could beat out them. I could beat out that one right there, so on and so forth. You got an idea. You have an idea. You have a focus. You have an understanding. You have a mindset. Why white folks done told me. You know what I'm saying? That's the minimum. But I was like, oh, I knew that. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yeah, I knew that. I knew you knew you had a privilege. You know what I'm saying? I knew you had a privilege. The folks that came on my land, you know what I'm saying, and then try to go back and forth with me and shit. Before he said, I wouldn't want people to just come, in my backyard. He was literally in my backyard. He was sent to mass in my backyard. You understand? So listen, that's a particular privilege. So I'm gonna need white folks to check check white folks. I'm gonna need y'all to check yourselves. You can check yourselves. When I talking about, protecting black women, I mean that at all costs, even white folks just coming on the land. Like you can't disrespect, the black women that are going to be here or anybody that's going to be here, but also I'm talking about, checking, black men as well when I'm talking about this. You know what I'm saying? So it takes time, it takes effort to check people. It takes effort to check people. Because it could get crazy. It could go somewhere. You understand? Like, but y'all be at your job sometimes. Y'all don't ask for the particular raise. You ain't checking just for the raise, and that might not go. That might just be a conversation that you don't want to have. So imagine if we got to go to you and explain, about some money. It's a real estate issue that I had to go through 2020, to be able to get this home. You know what I'm saying? So much work we had to, to do in regards to that. So it would be great to have white folks who are realtors who check other white folks who are realtors. We ain't even see that yet. We just asking for the cops to just check other cops. We just asking for, white cops to check other white cops. Man, that should seem like that's impossible. Can you imagine checking the banks? Like, white bankers checking other bankers? You know what I'm saying? Like checking, nah, I don't, So that's tough. It's like a big ask, to get those folks. But in those spaces is where we get violated the most. It's not just when the cop come. It's in a lot of these spaces that want to maintain privilege, and we don't recognize that. And you don't recognize that when you're dealing with privileges that you have and you maintain. Even in ourselves. That's why I ask that that you try to you make critiques. You come to me and you make critiques, but you make them shits proper though. You know what I'm saying? When you talking to me. Because I find out you ain't even talking to your landlord like that, and your landlord punking you, or you getting punked over there at your job. Man, you better watch your mouth, when you talking to me. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even doing that over there for your bread. How you gonna get me about some words? You know what I'm saying? Or how you feel about such and such, and you might be wrong. And that's real. But the first thing I do is I listen. You know what I'm saying? And hold that space. You gotta hold that space. I'm horrible at reading, man. I said I'm horrible at reading. Y'all know what I mean? Yeah. Yes, definitely. Beautiful, beautiful. Appreciate y'all. I got bad eyes. Let me tell you. I got bad everything. I tell you, I used to fight. They used to really like punch me in the face. You ever dealt with a person who's like training for you for like 2 months? He really focused on you. He really focused. Yo, they will be what? They used to be telling me, I was on your Instagram. I know you vegan. Yo, all the time. Yo, like, how you get like that, yo? For real. But I'm going to F you up when I see you on, you know what I mean? On fucking mutton. Nah, they wouldn't say that. But that's how they feel. That's the energy, So, number 5, though. So hopefully y'all get that. We would love, white folks to check, what I'm saying, white folks, hell yeah, I'm gonna check black men, all the time. That's easy work. When you've been doing it, as long as I have been, it's easy work. It's easy work. I was thinking, I'll share it with you in a little bit, a little story about my mentor. It will really help me to really kind of like speak, but also take that critique, be able to get that critique. It had to be a black woman, to be able to get that, that critique, and understand that, and then also know that I need to be actually developing, allow me to see me growing, and be like, all right, okay. But number 5, respect Black lives, right? That should be clear and that's obvious, right? But I'm gonna read you the whole paragraph so you understand. So so you get closer to the nuances, what it means to respect Black lives. And we talking about respect, and I don't need to say all. Hey, white vegans / animal rights activists support and protect all Black lives, regardless of sex, gender, sexual orientation, class, or ability. No Black lives are dispensable. All right, I'm gonna go into that and give you an example. Allyship and being accomplices means, I'm gonna read the whole paragraph. Not all of them I read the whole paragraph, right? Allyship and being accomplices means recognizing class and gender contradictions caused and stoked by white communities to maintain white rule and leave Black communities in a constant state of panic and misery, systematically undermining our fight for love and justice within our community. We see it on a regular basis. Sometimes y'all might support black men, and generally y'all go ahead and y'all support Black men, right? As we quiet Black women, and we see the images of Black women and feeling like, well, it's kind of low maintenance. You know what I'm saying? Because when the sisters come in, they calling out everybody, shaking up the pot, real crazy. I peep that. They come in and they really start shaking it up. Now you start shaking up the women, all the women, when you start shaking up, Black women. Come on. Let's talk about that reality, Fannie Lou Hamer's. Let's talk about that. Harriet Tubman. You already know Moses. You know what I'm saying? Where they thought it was the black our Moses, where they thought it was a Black man. but it was a black woman that was saving folks. Who would do that? Who could do that? Nobody on the level to go back and forth and do that particular work to contain, as they contain, like your Malcolm X and into a particular space. They did that. They made, black women and tried their best to make them invisible. And to also sometimes try to use and where they could, of course, they would sometimes use black men, cishet black men against black women, but they would also do that to black women, as well. They would do that to black women. They would Shirley Chisholm, as she banged for black folks, entirely, and we forget this. A lot of time we forget this, that women is still bang for everybody all the time. I don't even really think y'all know that. Y'all don't know that they bang for everybody, for the Tamir Rices, for the Sean Bells, for the Oscar Grants, the George Floyds, they're banging and making this information. I think, sometimes we gotta, understand that. Even at the same time they're banging, they're gonna bang for Breonna Taylor. So you trust me, you want to hear that voice. You want to hear that's happening, that particular work is happening. And then when we talk about alienating black trans folks, we see in black trans as this and picking them apart and why they don't need to exist. Understand, when you start banging on the black trans, and the black trans is the ones who's the Marthas who's running these things, who's the first to bang these riots, to bang the riots, to be the first to go at the police. You talking about that's going to send a ripple within the white community. You know what I'm saying? When you mess with the marginalized, folks, or these marginalized identities, you're also trying to maintain the marginalization within your own space. You understand? Folks don't understand with that. I can't hold your hand. I really can't hold your hand. But y'all need to be able to understand me when I'm talking about respecting folks, even if that's not your identity. That's hard for y'all. That's hard. That's hard for folks to do. It's not your identity. Now I ain't just talking about not respecting the folks who are obviously oppressed. I'm talking about everybody. Folks who happen to be oppressed. Maybe they, folks be like, well, they oppress more than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm over them. And then sometimes folks will be like this. Well, they're not as oppressed as me. You playing, this kind of Olympics, your championships. You know what I mean? You playing these championships. So when we talk about respecting black lives, white folks got to do that particular work and got to bang on that system. You afraid of that government and that particular system. The same folks that were talking about they was ready to bang on the conservative white folks, they're allowing Trump to do what the hell he want to do in government, literally telling the party that we're going to rock it like this. This is what we're going to do. A bunch of punks, suckers getting played, at the same time playing us and getting scraps. So you got to talk about that. You got to bring that that information, to folks. But I don't want to belabor that point. I'm gonna go to number 6. Number 6, I love number 6, and I'm gonna tell you why. White financial resources. Y'all gotta open up the bank. Y'all gotta open up the bank. If we talking about changing systems, what's more important? If it's just you pretending that you support folks, or you talking about opening up this particular system so that it supports everybody, so that everybody benefit? I really want to know that sometimes. And so I'm going to read this. White vegans, animal rights activists who own property and business and enjoy higher economic statuses begin to utilize their financial resources for Black lives and dismiss all racist tropes about Black economics, which you know nothing about. Allyship and being accomplices means using your resources for Black justice and ending your promotion of products, services over Black life. We're saying, don't tell me you just want to, work out this particular job and ignore Black lives, oppressed peoples out here. Folks of color, um, and you don't give up any resources. When you start to give up some resources, then we see that, okay, things are changing in the system. That is tangible. That is tangible because then we start building, things that actually support us. Look at the kind of things that the rich folks, in our community tend to build. That you're more well known, the most well known. We put a pressure on them, and you got to put a pressure on folks who can be status quo. You understand? We don't recognize that we got to critique folks. I'm gonna give you an example. Um, So your LeBron James, your Oprah Winfrey, they do a little bit of work, but it's a tiny bit of work. You know what I'm saying? But those are like the richest folks. Those become our richest and most well known folks within our community. So we need to build systems and we need to build structures, and so that understanding is there, right? Um, and we need to push them. But why we need to critique those folks? I'm gonna put my book here. Is when we look at say, and I wrote a little bit about this when we talk about. I'm trying to think of his name now. Dave Chappelle. So Dave Chappelle, as famous as he is, I totally forgot the brother's name. He got up on, he did a standout when he got real big. But before he got real big, he believed those. He believed what the Chappelle show was saying. He believed what the Chappelle show, was saying. Then he said he was against what it was, what it had turned him into. He got more of an understanding. How he got that standing, is great. But he believed when he was first saying when he was acting those particular roles, right? Which I don't think he was acting, saying that don't keep it real. Essentially, he was saying don't keep it real. Talking about keeping it real. What goes wrong when you're keeping it real? We know he was behind a lot of those thought process. He wasn't the only writer in there, in that space. It was other folks in that space, but whether he was going along with it and it came from his mindset or he decided to, he went along with that. He went along. He was with that idea that, I don't think we should really keep it real. But he was ready to keep it real when it comes to his money,